Welcome. My name is Zephyr Wildman. I'm going to unpack a prayer. Prayer is a very intimate, interesting way in which we consistently humble ourselves in going inwards, trusting with love as we open up to profound healing. So my practice of yoga meditation is not one of a religious experience, but one of a spiritual one. The idea of Ishvara Pranadhana, that trusting in the process of life, that surrendering to the Godhead of your understanding. Now, that is pointing towards you taking ownership and exploring what that means to you. You know, whether you can say God and you connect to the word God, but if you don't, you might see it in nature as source, energy. You might experience it as illuminated emptiness. You might experience as absolute pure love. Whatever you want to call it, connect to, and or experience is a very personal one. And prayer is a very personal, intimate one as well, in which we form a deeper relationship to ourselves. Sharon Salzberg, who's a meditation teacher and author, was quoted in saying that faith lies in trusting ourselves to discover the deepest truth on which we can rely on. Faith lies on trusting ourselves. As we come to practice, we start to put our bodies, our minds, and our emotions, our energies into different forms, practicing understanding where our edges are, and forming a more intimate relationship as we reclaim our own thoughts, our feelings, our sensations, and figure out as we practice Svadhyaya, which is that self-study, and understanding ourselves, gaining more self-knowledge of what works, what doesn't work, and actually connecting to that Viveka Shakti, that wise discernment, with no doubt, with that sense of kind of knowing what choices to make as we move forward. That idea that we form a more intimate connection, that interdependent relationship between mind, body, and energy, that experience of yoga, in that we go inwards and we deepen that understanding of not just who we think we are, but what we are. And in that deepening of our understanding of our true nature, we can rely on that to guide us. So this experience of prayer and connecting to that which you understand and experience is a humble asking for help. I need help. I can't do this by myself. I need guidance. And in that way, we become more open in that practicing of the art of surrendering, the art of letting go, the art of trusting in the process, in a loving awareness that can hold all suffering, that we feel that we can expand in that boundless sense of being, that it is a part of us and we are a part of it. So this mantra, this prayer, Asatoma, comes from the Upanishads, and it's a humble prayer looking towards the truth, towards light, and towards knowledge. So the first line of the prayer asks, please guide me from untruth to truth. So that idea that untruth is the limiting self, who we think we are, the labels, the mental constructs of who we think we are. And we limit ourselves, you know. I am my age, and I am my color of my skin, and I am my economic, you know, status. I am, you know, my grades. I am, you know, my accomplishments and my failings. I am this limited labeling of who I am. Guide me from the untruth to the true self, the absolute self, that boundless, limitless self of being, that essence of what I am in the past, right here in the present, and who I will be in the future. So the essence of what I am that has been consistent since I was conceived, and maybe even before, if that's something you want to believe in, but the essence of what I am has been consistent through time and will be there in the future. The next line says, please guide me from darkness to light. The darkness of ignorance, the avidya, the ignorance that keeps me trapped in the mental emotional afflictions of egotism, of craving, of aversion, of attachment to fear-based belief systems, opinions, and that core of getting stuck that I am my limited self. So as we start to see the darkness of our own ignorance, please guide us towards light. The light of knowledge, the light of understanding, that light of innate wisdom that rests within me as I get quiet enough and dissolve the veil of misapprehension of my life, that I see into the truth of reality of all things. The next line says, please guide me from death to immortality. And death is seen as that wheel of samsara, that wheel of suffering, that birth, life, death, and continue to suffer in that cycle of repeating certain patterns and habits and getting stuck again in that smallness of self, being bound to the kleshas, those mental emotional afflictions, that it draws you into the roots of why you suffer, free you from the bondage, and draw you towards freedom, liberation, enlightenment. So one of the translations has been offered to us is, lead me to the understanding that I am not my limited body, mind, or intellect, but I am, was, and always will be that eternal, absolute, blissful consciousness that serves as the underlying layer of all creation. So this is a prayer. It's asking, please guide me. I need assistance as I recognize my own limitations, and I humbly, wholeheartedly, in a heartfelt way, please assist me in transcending the old bondages, the old habits, the old core limiting beliefs that I hold on to. Please open me up to the truth of what I am, what I've always been. Please enlighten my mind, heart, and body with true knowledge and wisdom. Please free me from my pain and suffering. Liberate me from the bondage of what keeps me stuck. And in that way, we start to recognize that this prayer is not seeking to fulfill, food. I need shelter. I want a relationship. I want babies. I want to win the lottery. I want success in my career. I want fame. I want more followers. It's not asking for those things, because within those things, you see how there is like roots that draw you into more suffering, that keep you attached to those things that keep you in that klesha, that mental emotional affliction of craving more, of rejecting, of judging, of criticizing, of mislabeling, and further this kind of egotism of thinking more or less of who you are with what you do have or don't have. And the fear of, who am I if I'm not defined like this? And so all of a sudden, we start to recognize that this intention, this prayer, is really a statement saying, help me. Help me from the misunderstanding of what I am. And connect me, bless me with that true knowledge of self and the world around me. And it's a beautiful way we come to practice. Most of us, when we practice, we're connecting to this energy that we're cultivating, that we're, as we inhale and exhale, and as we contain our asanas and utilize certain Kriya practices of cleaning, purifying, dissolving these attachments, that we connect to this energy and we cultivate more of this energy, this alchemy of prana, this light, this vital energy, this heat, and this awakened, enlivened presence, that we feel it spontaneously awaken and play through our bodies, celebrating its experience. That we find that the practices that feel most successful are the ones that we enjoy as we celebrate this awakened energy within us. And that when we come to practice, we acknowledge we are imperfect. I reclaim my humanity. I have a shadow side and I have a light side. But I also am connected to that authentic self because I have nurtured myself inwards in accepting that I will have shortcomings and I will have failings and I will make mistakes. But I also have these virtues and these assets that make me me. And so in this way, I am perfectly imperfect. If I know that authentic self, I feel it, I experience it living through me, that sense of whatever I call source or divinity or that awakened consciousness is celebrating my embodiment as me. And I cannot be more beautiful and more perfect in its eyes, in its experience, as it is finding great delight in experiencing the uniqueness of Zephyr, and it experiences the uniqueness of you. So I find this prayer and practice of it really magical, because what it's trying to do is help you dissolve the mental constructs of this limiting belief system and connect you to the power of intention, the humility of really the vulnerability and rawness of, I need help. I come to practice. What is my intention? What do I need from this practice to restore me to a state of serenity, sanity, and peace? So you reclaim, you take ownership. You give yourself the permission to acknowledge your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And in that way, you ask, I can't do this anymore. I open up. I humbly ask you, I need this. And in this prayer of forming an intention and practice, we gain a more self-knowledge. We gain a greater understanding how to navigate this human experience. And from that authentic place, we can make more discerning, wise actions, choices to move us forward in life, feeling anchored in that trusting place in which we can rely on. So as we ask, please help me liberate myself to the truth that is around us, within us, as us, and shine me in that light of pure conscious awareness. Free me from the bondages of that small self. And we connect to that magic, that energy that is around us and within us, that we are a microcosmic expression of precisely the same energy of source that created, that maintains, and that dissolves the whole universe. Isn't that amazing? I find that most of the elements in our body were found in the stars in the course of billions and billions of years. We are a byproduct of the stars that have died, that shed its elements across the universe. We are a part of the periodic table. So a lot of the elements found in our body are the same as the stars in the night sky. That we are a part of the universe and it is a part of us. And in that magical way, we expand our consciousness. We realize that we are the only one limiting us from our fullest potential. So as we practice using mantra, we recognize that mantra is here to heal, to inspire us, to transform our mind, our heart, our energy, to enlighten us, and also to protect us from that cycle of stinking thinking, emotional distress, instability that we feel and we react in, and the disturbances that we find when our breath and our mind go into the vritti state. So as we open to mantra, to guide us as a prayer, to guide us through that vibrational sound that opens us to an expanded state of consciousness and exploration of language, of meaning, of word, to guide us in that deep truth that we recognize in ourselves, that we trust it and we can rely on it, that we can go forward and feel that we have more meaningful connection to life itself. So repetition of mantra is called japa. And a lot of the time when I'm practicing on my mat, I chant it mentally, sometimes verbally. When I'm out in my daily life, I catch myself in stinking thinking and ruminating around my emotions, and I go, oh, I can either continue going down that path and going into that downward spiral that keeps me stuck in that smallness of self, or I can replace it with a mantra, a prayer, and absorb the vibration to shift that stuff around and open me to the meaning. So we will practice this mantra, and I am very grateful that you want to learn from me. However, I'm not a singer and I'm not a Sanskrit scholar. There are many resources to learn this mantra properly, but I'm perfectly imperfect, and I'm how I was taught, and how I say it and how I express it is really, I'm trying to be as authentic as I can to the experience of this mantra that I've been doing for 20 years now, since I learned it. And I would recommend Diva Preamble, who's a singer, who I learned it from. She has an album called The Essence, and it's Om Asatoma is the track. So I would recommend trying hers out because my voice is definitely not as beautiful and graceful as hers, but I am perfectly imperfect. I am beautiful and perfect just as I am, and my voice will carry the expression of what it means. Guide me from untruth to truth. Guide me from darkness to light. Guide me from death to immortality. So in this way, I hope you feel, hear, experience the sound, the vibration, the meaning of these words in a humble way. We are open and willing to be guided.